For God so loved this world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him will never perish, but have eternal life. You know, Wonder Woman is part of the Justice League. You can see Wonder Woman right here. And we have a ton more videos to do on Wonder Woman. And this is the Justice League right here. And the Justice League, as you know, was directed by Zack Snyder. It is a Zack Snyder directed film. The entire film has already been directed. It has already been done. What we're dealing now with is post-production and reshoots. Zack is not able to do this or complete this part of the movie. Josh Whedon has taken over, and Josh Whedon is now doing the reshoots and also some of the post-production. And what has happened is there's maybe a change. Maybe it's not as major as you may think it to be, but Junkie XL, who has done the bulk of he was responsible for composing the soundtrack for Justice League. He has been, as of what he says here, well, let Junkie XL say it. So Junkie XL's Twitter, Tom Hulkenberg, and he says this about the Justice League. He says, as my mentor Zimmer told me, you haven't made it in Hollywood as a composer until you get replaced on our project. So I guess I finally graduated this week. It pains me to leave the project. But big thanks to Zack for asking me to be a part of his vision, and I wish Danny, Josh, and Warner Brothers all the best with Justice League. Very classy, but basically he has to leave the project. He's been replaced. So, he's been replaced by Danny, and Danny is Danny Elfman, who's a legendary director and known for the great theme, Dum 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 Dum, from Batman 1989, Tim Burton's film starring Michael Keaton as Batman. That theme is haunting. I mean, it's everywhere. It's even in the beginning of the Wonder Woman intro, where you see the Justice League coming in after the Warner Brothers logo. You'll hear, yeah, that's Danny Elfman. And I guess he was just proclaiming his presence because Josh Whedon has him on board to do the soundtrack for Justice League. Not the soundtrack, sorry, the score, the musical score for it. Now, does that mean that Junkie XL his score will not be heard at all, and all the work he's done on Justice League will not be heard, especially come together? No, it doesn't mean that. It just means that Josh Whedon has brought in post-production Danny Elfman on board to be able to do some embellishments of the Zack Snyder film. This is what I truly believe is happening, okay? Let me break it down. So Zack Snyder has done the majority of the work and even some editing of Justice League. I think they came to the conclusion that certain things needed to be filled together. Josh Whedon is the one doing the reshoots to make sure they can fit that stuff together. How much of the reshoots will they use? We don't know. But also, in addition, since Wonder Woman sort of hearkened to Danny Elfman's theme for the Justice League, they brought Danny Elfman on board to sort of fill in the gaps for where Junkie XL's music would be necessary. And also, Danny Elfman gets a little bit more work. Whedon kind of helps him out. Whedon has also worked with Danny Elfman on the Avengers, both Age of Ultron as well as Avengers. Even though those weren't memorable theme songs, they're very forgettable. It's just he worked with him. Now, the difference is, I think that Josh Whedon has a lot more creative freedom and Danny Elfman than they had at Marvel. It seems as though Josh Whedon had to fight for certain things to happen, and he's lost a couple battles. But that always happens with directors and studios, okay? You can go as far back as Richard Donner, where he actually left Superman 2 because of creative differences, okay? Even in the middle of production, and then somebody else had to finish it off, which is why it wasn't as good a movie as it should have been. Now, in the case of Zack Snyder, it's a little bit different, because Zack Snyder, he didn't leave because of creative differences, or he didn't leave because his ideas, no, he left because of family issues, and he entrusted it to whoever Warner Brothers wanted to do, but he said, instead of leaving it for next year, they need to get it done by the end of this year, so Josh Whedon jumped on board. So here are all the pros to Josh Whedon directing this movie. 1, Josh Whedon is not directing an entire movie, so he doesn't have to come up with the idea or anything. He's just polishing up, he's just trimming up, he's just cleaning up, okay? That's what he's doing. So that's not something he can't do, and he's a very good director, so that shouldn't be a problem. He usually has good chemistry with his actors, so you don't have to worry about that. Also, the nice thing about Josh Whedon, he's pretty good at having dialogue between characters. Josh Whedon's not the one that wrote the script, so you don't have to worry about that. The characters are going to interact with the scripting. The thing about it is that Josh Whedon's going to encourage the actors sometimes to ad-lib, and there should be some, little connections. Also, obviously, Josh Whedon has been in contact with Zack Snyder to know what his goals, his aspirations, what is his vision for the film. So, as a result of that, it seems that they had consultation and stuff. I don't even know if they worked together before that, but what I can tell you is Whedon's a guy who will want to see Zack's vision, because he understands this is Zack Snyder's film. He will want to see Zack's vision become a reality on the screen. He knows this is not his movie. He knows Batgirl is his movie. So he's going to be working with that. So that's another plus. Here's another plus to it. Danny Elfman, whenever he has worked with Warner Brothers, he's done some memorable music. And I think they already have in mind what kind of music they want to put out, Whedon and Elfman, which is why Elfman has been brought on board. And I think Warner Brothers, on looking at the success of Wonder Woman, want to incorporate Elfman's sort of thematic score into that Justice League movie, which would be sort of consistent with the animated series as well. So that would be cool. Zack Snyder, of course, gives a different feel to the DCU. He gets kind of rock feel now with Junkie XL there. But I think maybe they want to kind of sort of change some things, but not overtly, subtly bringing in certain elements into there. Junkie's already being paid. Junkie has pretty much done everything already. He's done the soundtrack and everything. I think what's happening is that Junkie, he wanted to stay for post-production and also for reshoots to see what was happening and just stick around, and if he had to do something extra, he would do it. So I think he's disappointed in that respect, but I don't think it's that he hasn't done the bulk of the work and it's just, that Danny Elfman has to replace him and do all this hard work. I hope that's not the case. So at the end of the day, I think Danny Elfman is necessary because Warner Bros. Wants to use some of his music in there, and I think that's good. Maybe Whedon may pull from the Richard Donner Superman theme at some point, but I don't know how they'll incorporate it into the movie as a shout out. Maybe Zack Snyder is doing that with Junkie XL or something. I don't know. But what I can say is that this combination is not a bad combination of Whedon and Elfman. It's not bad. So I'm not worried about it too much. I would tell you guys this though. We as the core DCEU fan base, Warner Bros. Should be, I hope they are, cognitive that we are looking for a Zack Snyder film. We don't care what the critics' score is. We're looking for a Zack Snyder Justice League film. Once we get a Zack Snyder Justice League film, we're cool. I mean, Wonder Woman is good and all, but I think Zack Snyder's two films, Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. I know I said Wonder Woman. I thought a smidge was better than Man of Steel, but I watched Man of Steel this week and Batman v Superman, and they are so far ahead of Wonder Woman, it's not funny, okay? They are superior films to Wonder Woman in terms of rewatchability. Wonder Woman, you kind of pretty much get the whole film from start to end. You can't say that for Man of Steel. You can't say that for Batman v Superman. You have to watch the films again and again and again. You see more and more things every time you watch them. That's what makes them rewatchable and makes them so much fun. So that's why I was looking forward to Justice League. I know Zack Snyder, he is a guy that will give you a lot of things you want to see, but he'll also give you things to make you think, to make you question things. So that's what I was looking for with Zack Snyder, as well as his layered way of putting forward storytelling. We know it's going to be more straightforward. It's not going to be like Batman v Superman, more linear. It's going to be along the lines of Wonder Woman, a simpler story, but yet so many subtleties and complexities in it. Ton of little Easter eggs and just a lot of really fun stuff. So still gonna be a sad story. I think he always does tragedies or dramas. Expect somebody to die in that movie. So at the end of the day, you're looking at that kind of movie. That's what we're looking at. And once it keeps in line with those basic rules that Zack Snyder has, I think Joss Whedon, he doesn't have a whole lot of work to do really. He just has to kind of sometimes reorganize certain things and clean up certain places and make sure the dialogue's on point at certain places, but it fits into the storyline, the script, the vision Zack Snyder has. I think that's all Joss Whedon really needs to do. And before you throw up alarm bells and say, "Oh my gosh, Junkie XL," but they're changing the soundtrack. If they're changing the sound, they're changing the feel of the movie. I don't think they're gonna change much that Junkie XL is doing. I think they're gonna try and add to it, fill in pieces, fill in places. That's what Danny Elfman's brought in for. They'd be mad to just change the whole soundtrack. That would be fucking stupid. But I don't think that's what they're gonna do. I don't think Whedon's that kind of person. I think he's trying to help complete a work that a director started, and I think that's what they're gonna do. And I think they already have a plan and a regimen and everything. He's just taking it over and making sure it gets done. So I think that's what's up, quite frankly. On that note, you guys, have a good one. Keep the faith. Notice I don't badmouth directors for the DCEU. Support everybody. David Ayer, Patty Jenkins, Zack Snyder, Joss Whedon, Matt Reeves, James Wan. All you guys, man. Shout out to you guys. Keep it going. Keep the stuff beautiful. We don't want an Avengers film. We've seen enough Avengers film. We want something totally different. We want the Justice League, and we're going to get the Justice League. Feel hyped. Feel excited. Don't worry. Just keep on watching to see what's happening. Yes, WB has done in Zack Snyder twice. We're hoping not a third time. Hopefully this time his vision gets to the screen like how he would have wanted it to, with, you know, a little bit of Joss Whedon up in there. And if that's what happens, I'm cool with it. You know, I'm cool. I can settle for that. You know, I just would love to see Zack's complete vision for once on the big screen, but it hasn't happened so far, and I guess it won't happen here either. So being realistic, just once it's a Zack Snyder film, I'm cool. Don't butcher it, and we're cool. With Joss Whedon, I know he's not going to butcher it. I know it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to Justice League still. All right, guys? You guys have a great one.